Joining us to talk about the market day, though, is Kourtney Gibson, president at Loop Capital, and still with us, Dan Nathan, principal at RiskReversal Advisors. But first, we go to Mike Santoli. Mike, the fact that the Dow did close down near session lows, what does that tell you?
Obviously, just a little, I would say, minor fatigue is the way I would characterize it. I mean, for days, maybe more than days, you've been able to look at this market and say it's remained unusually overbought without really giving much ground and stepping back, and it's due for some kind of a breather. Today could just be the beginning of exactly that kind of a breather. I'm not seeing very much of a headline catalyst for what's going on today. Obviously, we still did have the Nasdaq outperformance, even on basically a very modest movement underlying the overall index.
And Kourtney, to Morgan's point, we're still up for the week. We're up, obviously, therefore, as well for the start of the year. Is that justified in your eyes? And do you think earnings season could be a concern? Are we set up pretty difficultly ahead of earnings season?
You know, I don't think we're set up difficultly ahead of earnings season at all. I think a lot of the management teams have learned their lesson. They've been under-promising and over-delivering on reporting. And candidly, guidance had been brought down pretty substantially. And so I think, you know, the bar is kind of set low. And as long as these companies are meeting and achieving these objectives and giving forward guidance that's positive, I mean, I know that sounds like the perfect storm, but as long as those things are happening, I think we will continue to see a strong melt up. And as long as we don't get any surprises, I think kind of stability from a global perspective, stability on trade and geopolitical issues will definitely assist this earnings season to continue the rally higher.
Dan, I realize we ended up closing down triple digits today, but the fact that the Dow did cross that 29,000 level earlier in the session, one of the points that has been made is that from 28K to 29K, it's really just been a small handful of names that have powered the games. What does that tell you about the narrowing of leadership?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mike has probably done a lot of market flashes, whatever you call them, on the narrowing. Listen, it makes me nervous when you see fewer and fewer stocks doing more and more heavy lifting, especially when we get really extended. I'll make a couple points, though, that you started out by talking about the Russell 2000 closed down. As we head into earnings, I really want to see how Russell companies are doing. We know that they are, back to one of your other market charts, Mike, you know, much more exposed to the fluctuations in credit, much more exposed to some of the issues that we have in trade. Let's see the sort of guidance we get from there. But, you know, Kourtney is correct that as long as these companies keep putting up conservative guidance and beating them, the market should continue to move higher. Except one point, last year at this time, earnings expectations, the S&P 500, we're expected to be up high single digits. We're going to close basically flat to up a couple. Right now, again, everyone's expecting 8, 9, 10% EPS growth for 2020. At some point, if that doesn't look likely after last year's 28% run, we're not going to close up double digits in 2020.